the night. We're live. Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you guys are enjoying my musical choice for you today. Wow, that is invigorating. And Jason, probably the right music for my friend Dave Metz, who is so excited to be here with us today. I'm sure. Good morning, Dave.
Hi, Shannon.
Dave.
Hey, Jason.
How are you?
Well, Jason,
yeah.
I don't know.
When I think about automating questionnaire response, I think about metal. I think about
who doesn't?
Just make it happen.
Who doesn't? Let's go. Jason, I don't know if you met Dave at Life Sciences Dreamin'. Did you guys get to meet there?
I'm sure we did.
Geez, I'm not 100% positive that we did. It was, there's a lot of people at the event and a lot going on. It's such a great event. But yeah, so happy to meet here.
You would have remembered Dave fills a room. He fills a space.
Literally.
All
I'm
right.
6'8".
Well, yeah, there you go. Probably get all of those. How's the weather up there? Questions.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How are you at basketball? Yes, I've had once or twice.
What's funny is Dave took his ability to be wonderful at basketball and turned it into a really incredible tool that I cannot wait for you to see, Jason. Now that everybody knows you did not meet Dave, it is going to be thrilling for everybody to watch you discover what Dave has built.
Sure thing, Dave. Feel free to give us an intro.
Yeah, sure thing. Dave Metz, CEO of MightierAI. I've been in product management for over a decade, and across all of the product management, and that was largely in health tech for life sciences. There were a lot of RFPs and RFIs and compliance questionnaires, and information security questionnaires and compliance questionnaires, and so on and so forth. And they all are terrible. They all take multiple hours. They all require laborious effort from a variety of folks within the org. I remember a multi-hour call where we went through an RFP line by line, SVPs, C-suite folks, and then we had to come back the following day and do it another 3 hours. And this is not atypical. And really just having used the old legacy software, realizing that large language models could be better put to use and could be deployed really effectively in this arena. And effectively, I built the product I wanted to see. And so I'll do a quick walkthrough of what it is and how it works. But we'll go to the demo as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing everyone.
I'm so pumped about this, Jason.
Yeah,
I know you know this story. In like 2010, I was cowered underneath my cube at InVivo Data because we were working on a 90-page RFI, just basically filling out questions for one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies on the planet. And sometimes the wording of the questions, you're like, what is it that they want? Can I retool an answer? You're bothering everybody in the organization. Just RFIs, RFPs, they are the bane of my existence.
Yeah, having also done several of those as well, I'm really excited to see this. Dave spent days and days in a former life, doing sales and consulting, just getting the RFP and then making sure you're adhering to everything. It can be so tedious. This is amazing. If you want to go ahead and share your screen here, we can get that picked up.
I'll do a quick walkthrough of what the tool is, and then jump to effectively how we deliver. We deliver a native tooling, which is a little bit different from a lot of our peers. We also have a shiny web app, of course, but we deliver in email and Excel primarily. And then, that enables your subject matter experts and you to sort of dive in and start working immediately. But without further ado, and you all can see my screen, correct?
Yep.
You got it.
Awesome. Okay. So I'll do an abbreviated overview. The problem, I think, is widely understood. Questionnaires, RFPs, RFIs, information security, everyone hates them. They're really time and resource intensive. They're difficult to do well, and the process hasn't improved with legacy software. And you end up effectively with two major problems. You end up with non-responses. You say, I don't want to deal, and I'm not going to respond. Or you end up with inferior responses. Even if you do respond, you're spending so much time on the questionnaire itself that you orphan the client communication, and or you're not actually doing a great job on the deck or other things that surround effectively the RFP. And so what we do is we automate questionnaire response via secured AI. And we remove 80+% of the work, and we've doubled client win rates. And the way we do that, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, the way we do that is really straightforward, and I'll run through it quickly. But essentially, you give us all of your old RFP, RFI questionnaire responses, and we train on that. And you give us a blank questionnaire. And when you give us that blank questionnaire, we extract automatically all the questions, and we send back an Excel with all the questions that we see, the responses we suggest, and links to underlying detail. And so those links have citations and verbatims and more capability, which I'll show you in the web app momentarily. And so, like I said, when you want to use us, you simply work in tools that you know. You get an RFP, and your first reaction is to
Cry.
Cry. Your second should be that, oh, I have a lifeline. I can email and forward the email to MightierAI. We come back with a response 80 to 90% in less than an hour.
Wow.
And that response contains an attachment to an Excel that has, again, all the questions, all the responses we suggest, and links to underlying detail. And I'll show you what this looks like in a moment.
Sure.
But the reality is, like, the way we operate, right? Like, the current process, Control F over and over across multiple documents. You find bits and pieces of content that are appropriate, and you bring them together, you mash them together into these Frankenstein answers. And at the end of that, you have little to no traceability as to where it even came from. With us, we're using, the power of large language models across both ChatGPT and Claude to bring forward that best detail. And we're crafting that winning content by leveraging a multitude of large language models. And at the end of that, not only are we providing great responses, we're delivering it alongside citations and verbatims from your underlying sources so that you can double check and confirm the veracity as well as improve the responses. And as far as like the competition, right? A lot of people are trying their own things or have built their own process or have, legacy tools that they like. With us, we're automated, we're purpose-built, we have tailored UX, we're hallucination-free, which a lot of the LLMs sort of can't claim to be. And we're in native applications. And so, when you use Office Suite, you're still going to end up doing a lot of the laborious work. It's not automated. Of course, it's not built to do RFP response. When you're using the legacy RFP tech, you might have that tailored built UX, but it's going to be really laborious, of course, and you're going to struggle to get subject matter experts involved on the native applications because it's not a native application. It's some new tool that they have to learn. And for the off-the-shelf LLMs, it's automated, but it's confusing and there are a lot of hallucinations. So from our perspective, we think it's a clear choice. Of course, we're biased, but there you go. What I'd like to do now is give you a better sense for how we deliver, and you all can still see my screen. This is an Excel, an example output. So when we deliver, like I said, this is for a hypothetical investment firm called Fresh Financial. They invest money on behalf of family foundations, and you're getting a sense. So they forwarded us an RFP. Here's an example of our response, and I'll do a quick walkthrough. So you can see, columns A through D, a lot of the source information, a lot of the source questionnaire information, the question number, the original section, the original question ID, and the original question. We then add essentially E onward. And so we take surrounding context, we have an inferred question, effectively like an improved understanding of what the question is. We suggest a response length based on the underlying question. We suggest a response, of course, and we have a link to the underlying detail. This is in column H now. We also have metrics, truthfulness, relevance, completeness, which help describe the quality of our response. And we actually even have comments around why we score the way we score. These are all AI generated. These are all created afresh via our pipeline. And we're using retrieval augmented generation in the background. And then lastly, topics. This is really our ability, our way of segmenting documents, because you might answer differently depending on the client. we want to enable folks, our clients, to choose effectively what documents they want to bring to bear in a response.
Dave, can I pause you right there? What's retrieval augmented generation? That is a cool phrase. It sounds amazing, and I want to use it. What does it mean?
Yeah. So all it means is it's bringing the power of large language models to your sources. So when you have ChatGPT off the shelf, it's going to the open web to find information, right? What we do is effectively, it's a little bit more complicated than this. It's a lot more complicated than this, but effectively you can imagine is ChatGPT, rather than referencing the open web, is referencing your sources. And so it's referencing your sources, and we're adhering very tightly to those sources. We're not going to lie. It's an RFP setting. And so essentially we're pulling forward all of those facts that you see in the response. And so this, we've seeded this example output with just a few sources. But you can see here the inferred question: what is the composition of your leadership team? How do you make investment decisions and determine asset creditworthiness, right? And so here's that suggested response. And you're able to click into the link for the underlying detail. And so we pull forward, right? We pull forward this question and answer. What is the composition of your leadership team? How do you make investment decisions, right? And we're showing you the full response here, right? And this is our this is our web app, and you can see the edit history. So I made an edit to this on March 7th. You can go back to the previously generated AI versions, right? And so, you can go back to the detailed version. And what you see here on the right, and this is what we bring forward predominantly in the web application, that's important for a lot of our users, is this notion of component questions. This is like a decomposition of the top level question. And you can see what is the structure of your leadership team. So that's on some level a variant of that first portion. And by asking these smaller questions, we're asking the large language model to answer a much tighter, direct question. And you're able to see not only our response to that question, but also the verbatims in italics here, as well as the source material that it came from. And you can download it there.
I love this part, Dave, because I think what we know is large pharma might ask the exact same question as a biotech, but they require a different response because they want to interact with your company differently. And I think giving this level of detail and visibility allows the person who actually owns the response to be able to say, hey, I know this question might be exactly the same coming from these two different contingents, but our response has to be tailored to who's going to be reading it.
Totally. And go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna, that's a great point, Shin. And I was also gonna assume then as well, are you kind of feedback looping, as you generate more responses, it's gonna learn, even more so how you're tailoring these answers to specific RFPs and those use cases, correct?
That's exactly right, Jason. So as you're editing and improving the response, so Fresh Financial, maybe it's formerly known as Fresh Financial Inc., or something like that, right? We now know, right, because of that edit, we're going to actually know that it used to be called Fresh Financial Inc., right? So, what is the name of your company over the duration of its existence? We're going to be able to better answer that question because we now have this fact embedded in our sources. And so you can make that change, and now that's available for use, right? And there's a lot more here. You're able to ask. So I'm just showing you in the context of an RFP, you're able to ask, one-off questions here. Of your source. You're able to look at the history of all the questions that have been asked, and you can preview effectively what response was given. You're able to see all of the questionnaires that you've had historically or that you're currently working on, as well as like the individual questions. And you're able to look into the sources as well, and you can see the topics that are activated for some of these. But it's really fully featured. And we think it's fantastic to use. Again, you don't have to, right? And that's the important thing, right? Your subject matter experts may balk at learning a new interface, but we think that this structure and this ability of effectively showing your work and enabling easy editing alongside a lot of good, really rich source material is really powerful.
You know, Dave, you just as you said, your subject matter experts might balk. I was thinking about all of the people that I would bother to say, hey, you know, you need to update this answer. I don't do your job, data manager. Right. You need to answer this for us. So one of the things that I was wondering about, Dave, is there an ability to tag somebody in or to let them know, hey, I know the answer to this might change every quarter or every year. You know, what's the task management piece look like for the person who's maybe the proposal manager or the capture manager who has to go out to those SMEs?
Yeah, so just the same way as these, you know, these are all individual links to the underlying question. And so you can share that directly as is. Onboarding is very straightforward. And so your SME can just make direct edits like I just did, and you'll see that, in the edit history here. And so that's largely how we operate today. We're going to build additional capability and functionality as it relates to subject matter expert involvement. But yeah, that's the short of it, Shannon.
That's awesome, Dave.
One thing I just was going to mention around you said large pharma, small biotech. You know, when you mentioned that, a health tech client or similar may differentially deliver, right? They may meet weekly, say, with the large biopharma, whereas they might only meet monthly, say.
Right.
Customer success perspective, that's a perfect time to use this topic piece, this topic thing, where you can sort of segment, okay, these are the RFPs that I sent to large pharma, and they contain a different set of facts from those small biotechs. And so that's another great way to bring forward the information you want to see.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And you mentioned this earlier in your presentation too, how, you know, the traditional approach is to kind of Frankenstein some of these copy paste from these previous ones that you had, where I believe that Mightier RFP here in this case could give you a more cohesive story as well in your response, right? You want it to be kind of, very much, in attune to what's being requested rather than just piecing it out individually from, patching it in from a bunch of different places.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. What's the typical onboarding length look like when you bring on a new client? And we got to get this trained, right? We need to pump this information in there to make this work as best as possible. What are you seeing on average? How long is that taking? What's that look like?
What that looks like, Jason, is, I have built this to be incredibly easy to use, incredibly easy to adopt. It takes us less than a day to get it all set up, right? You show up and you say, I'm sick of doing RFPs. I'm like, yeah, me too. we give you a folder. You drop old RFP responses, you give us that blank questionnaire, and away we go. The whole pipeline is automated end to end. So we extract all the questions, we extract all the facts from your sources, and we bring it to bear in the final response. So the time to value is incredibly short. And when we sell, I'll mention, a lot of people are like, oh, we do AI, especially now.
Sure.
And I was a purchaser of AI solutions in the past, and I am incredibly wary of that pitch.
Yeah.
I don't know how real AI is.
Yeah.
The thing is, our AI is real, right? Like, you can see it work, and and so we want our customers to see that same thing. And so we give a free trial to all of our prospects, because seeing is believing, and frankly, it's so easy to use that we want to see you. We want you to see just how easy it is to use and how great the solution is.
That's amazing.
That's
Dave,
awesome.
Where can everybody find you? Where can they connect with you?
You can connect with me. So yeah, exactly. In the comments. So MightierAI.com. I'm Dave at MightierAI.com. You can directly email at the website. You can book directly with me if you're interested in the solution. There are going to be a multitude. We're still a little bit stealthy. Like, we don't have a huge LinkedIn footprint, but we recently raised pre-seed capital and a number of clients. And yeah, it's great. We're growing.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so we'll be coming out of our turtle shell momentarily. But for now, direct email and or the Calendly link on the website will work. But I'm very open. I'm very accessible. I'm very approachable. If you
As
get
you should be.
Confirm. Confirm.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Very
right.
cool.
So yeah, don't be a stranger. And if you're interested and you hate RFPs, which is to say everyone, let me know and I can help.
I've yet to meet somebody who loves them. So
There you go.
it's a great space to
Maybe
be in. for
procurement
sure.
people.
Very cool.
Maybe procurement
Well, right,
people.
right.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dave. This was incredible. I know
sharing,
everybody's pumped. I know the first time I saw it, I was pumped. So thanks for sharing this with us today. Everybody reach out to Dave. I know that anyone who's watching hates RFPs, RFIs, except for quite a few little procurement people I've met who love inflicting pain on others.
That's right. Well,
thanks
thank you
again, everybody.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your day.
See you later. Smalls for the camera.